No, I'm just kidding. This is how you can get you a good rough field estimate of what your corn's gonna shell. And about the only tools you really need is something to calculate on, be your phone or pencil and paper old school way, and one of these right here, just a handy dandy length checker. Well, what you do is, I planted all of my corn on 30-inch rows. So you stretch your tape measure out there 17.5 foot, lock her down. Then you go through and you count every one of them ears, a harvestable ear you got in 17.5 foot of row. And then you multiply it by 1,000, because 17.5 foot of row on 30-inch spacings is 1,000th of an acre. So you get all your cobs and you multiply it by 1,000, and then you got a population. All right, you've done the hard part. Now for the easy part in arithmetic. You just count your kernels, your rings around it, and your length. You start off, and I always get right here in the middle, and you just count however many rows of kernels you got right there. Then you write that down. Then I come in here and I find down here on the bottom somewhere a first true ring, not your little bitty nubbins. I come up here gently, I skip me about one or two, and I start and I count how many kernels it is in one row. And I shut her down a little bit before the top, before it starts getting all discombobulated up there, them little tiny kernels. I shut her down, and more than likely it's going to be an even number, and that's how many you got per row. Then what you do is you take your number you got for how many rings, how many times around it is, and you multiply that by your number of kernels it is long. It's kind of like doing square footage. It's simple arithmetic, just length times width. And then you write that down on whatever kind of piece of paper you can find in your truck, because I had 6 of them. So as you can see here, I came out with a 560 kernel per ear average. Then you multiply that by however many ears that you had that was harvestable in your 17.5 foot of row. And as you can see right here, I got 18,480,000. That's how many total kernels it is. Now here's the only tricky part that's highly variable. You take this big number here, the 18 million number, and then you divide that by either 90,000, 80,000, 70,000, 100,000. Divide it by whichever one of them numbers. I'm going to tell you what they mean. The bigger the number you divide by, be 100,000, 90,000, 80,000, the bigger the number is, the smaller the kernel or the lighter the kernel. So if you're in really dry conditions, drought, something like that, you ain't got really big kernels, you want to divide by 100,000, 90,000, because you're going to have smaller kernels. The bigger your kernels are, the more weight they weigh, you're going to go up there to that 80,000, 70,000, and that's what you divide that by. As you can see right here, mine, when I got that number and divided by the 90,000, it come out to 205 bushels an acre on the average. When I move up there to 80,000, I've got 231 bushels an acre on average. Now, don't be getting all excited. This ain't dadgum wrote in stone. This is just kind of giving you a rough estimate. Hope y'all having a good one. If you don't mind, hit that like and follow and all that good jazz over there. Y'all get after